Welcome to April. Wintry weather is, well, in the past now. And so it is time for me to do my annual verification video to show how well I forecasted the previous winter. I'm meteorologist Tansleach going over all of this. So, water year rainfall, I predicted a top third of all years, with that being 39.7 inches or more in Portland, 44.2 inches or more in Eugene. As of April 1st, the trendcast showed Portland being about a little bit less than 2 inches under this mark, Eugene being a little bit under 2 inches over this mark. Now, that's the lower end of the margins of error. I'd call this too close to call right now. We'll see how the rest of spring pans out, and then also we'll see how the summer months pan out as well. Average wintertime temperature, I predict it to be below average by at least 6/10 of a degree. For Portland, actually was above average by about 6/10 of a degree. Eugene did end up being below average by about 2/10 of a degree, but that's not cold enough for me to call a forecast hit. It's going in as a forecast miss instead. Lowest wintertime temperature, I predicted it to be below 20 degrees. In Portland, 24 degrees was the lowest PDX got. Eugene got down to 20 degrees. However, a lot of the outlying areas did get into the teens. This also includes the official stations in Corvallis, Hillsborough, and Scappoose. Again, for these, I'm only using the official sites. When I'm looking at the unofficial sites that the National Weather Service puts on their observations page, there's a little bit of a broader teen support, especially once you got away from the urban heat island. That's in contrast to the previous 5 year streak where we had no teens to speak of, where it was pretty much above 20 degrees regardless of your location. So as a result, I'm calling this a partial hit. Windstorms, 53 miles per hour or more at PDX, aka top third year. In Eugene, I didn't do the calculations in time for my October or December forecast. I have actually done the calculations now on what would be the top third of all years. That'd be about 50 miles per hour. It was also possible a big storm missed the Willamette Valley due to it being compact, as that was a theme I saw in some of my analog years and was a common thing in the top analog years. The actual nature has a cruel sense of humor because PDX hit 52 miles per hour twice. 1 mile per hour off the 53 miles per hour or more. Eugene, however, did get to 51 miles per hour, putting that in the top third of all years. Then for other storms that struck the Pacific Northwest, there was two big north coastal storms, one of which had hurricane force gusts get into Astoria. However, I don't remember if that was the official site or if that was one of the unofficial sites. I just know that was not the Astoria Melcher Bridge, as I do not like to use that because the wind totals tend to be a little bit inflated on that due to its more exposed location. This also caused major power outages, the most since 2016-17, where Clatsop County had both of these storms, at least 80% of customers without power. There was also a bomb cyclone that hit the Puget Sound region. It didn't really affect Oregon that much, with gusts being mainly about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Puget Sound had a big event if you were closer towards the Cascade foothills, and I believe they had the most power outages since the Hanukkah Eve windstorm. As a result of all that, I'm calling it a forecast hit by technicality. And it's mainly a technicality just because PDX didn't hit 53 miles per hour, though everything else would have hit the equivalent form of that. Most active time forecast January 1st through February 14th in October. I changed that in my December forecast, extending it to February 28th. The analog years were pretty split on whether it would be a January peak time or a February, and it was a toss up whichever one it was. February ended up winning out, with it being about February 3rd through the 14th being the most active time for wintry weather. This was a forecast hit as a result. Mountain snow depth on April 1st. My forecast was 125% or more below 4,500 feet, or if you're above 4,500 feet, 115% or more. What actually ended up happening, the Mount Hood test site, which is at the bottom of the Poochie Lift at Timberline Lodge, which makes it about 5,300 feet and change, that was about 105% of normal. Crater Lake did see record high snow depth at multiple points this year and is currently standing at 161% of normal. On top of that, multiple ski resorts have seen their best ski season in a long time, including Timberline, despite the snow depth not showing it being that much above average. The further south you go, the better it was. Hoodoo's having a great year. Mount Bachelor's having a great year. Willamette Pass is having a great year. This is further backed up by the basin maps. The only basin that is below average is Mount Hood in Oregon. The Willamette Basin's about 116% at average. Once you get east of the Cascades, that jumps to 139% at average. And most of Southern Oregon is having a very good year, which is really good news for them. So is Northeast Oregon, being anywhere from about 125 to 180% of normal. As you go into Washington, if you're looking at the southern Washington Cascades, actually wasn't a bad year. 110 to 115% of normal if you are south of Highway 12/White Pass. When you're going further north, like even though Mount Rainier is in partially in this lower Columbia basin, Mount Rainier had a below average season, and that kept going the further north you went. So for my general area forecasting, actually went pretty well. The only thing that didn't go well was the fact that I predicted more snow in the lower elevations than what actually ended up happening. As a result, I'm calling it a partial hit by technicality because of this. You can debate it was a full hit. I'll leave that be up to you in the comment section whether or you think that this should be a full hit or a partial hit. Valley snowfall, it forecasted 6 inches or more valley-wide. Yeah, this ended up not even hitting half. So this was the snow totals using the same locations that I have before, with the exception of Kelso, which I'm using the nearby location of Stella for that, which is about 5 miles to the west of Longview. All of the snow fell on February 13th or 14th, and this produces a population weighted average of 2.99 inches. The official totals at the Portland airport 3 inches, downtown 3.5, and in Eugene 1 inch. I will say it was remarkably consistent once you got to about Salem and went northward from there. McMinnville's kind of the exception to that rule, with it being about 3 to 4 inches of snowfall. So this is the final scorecard for this year, with my current score being 3 out of 6, with one score being too close to call. This makes it my worst winter forecast since I started this YouTube channel. The last time I've gotten one this bad was the year that actually predated the YouTube channel in 2019-20, where I got a score of 2 out of 6. Coincidentally, that was also the last winter I got a major forecast busting a storm in January of 2020. So, I guess points for consistency on that? I don't know. So, otherwise, I am really hoping for a better year next year. I'm also releasing my way too early predictions for next winter at the same time of this video, so please be on the lookout for that. Until then, stay safe out there and take care.